Hello and welcome to the Third and Long podcast. As always, I am here with Ollie Butler Henderson and Phil Perrins for a bit of a different episode this week. But first off, guys, how are you?
Relaxed after a little bit of time in the sun.
I'm really good, but unlike Ollie, and I was saying to someone that I work with at school is I don't do resting in the sun because I'm as pale as a milk bottle, and I do not like being tanned. So I am naturally in some of the most blackest Tim Burton-esque gear you can possibly find, and I'm hiding from the sun like a vampire.
I mean, this is what happens when you're a bit of an emo as well.
It's true. I was sitting here early, just like doing this with my hair, just to try and get as over my eyes as possible could.
We are missing our fourth member of our team this week as he is somewhere in a field.
He is loving download right now. He texted me this morning saying he's never been as hungover before in his life.
Didn't I see him drinking like a Strombo like 3 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning? Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Admittedly, that was in like Spain time, not UK time. So it's probably could have been 7 o'clock in the morning. He is Welsh, for example. So yeah.
Anyway, lads, before we get on to the main part of this episode, we have a bit of news that we need to cover.
Oh, there's never quite a week in the NFL, is it? We plan things. Oh, it's going to be a little bit quieter. You know, it's OTAs are finished. Blah 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 blah. Nope. NFL throws a couple of bits of information out
there. Should we start off with two bits of news that broke earlier today?
Yeah, fire.
So Dalvin Cook has been cut by the Vikings and looks like he's heading to Miami. And Frank Clark has been signed by the Broncos for $7.5 million one-year contract.
Dalvin Cook, not a surprise because that was a rumor that was happening pre-draft, week of the draft.
So, I've been tracking this since April when I was in Magic Kingdom at Disney World, and my mate was wearing a Dalvin Cook shirt. And as we were walking past somebody shouted to him, "Cook's beep, he's going to Miami."
I mean, did they actually beep or was a expletive in there?
There was an expletive in there that I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah,
and shouldn't have been really said around as many kids as there were at Disney World.
It's the happiest place in the world, Disney. You wouldn't want to upset that apple cart.
No, I mean, Miami are stacking running backs.
They're not just stacking running backs. They're stacking quick running backs.
Yeah.
Mostert's absolutely rapid. Jeff Wilson's rapid. Cook's quick. And to pair him with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're just trying to get basically Ferraris.
Don't be surprised if Miami run a very high octane, very quick, no huddle offense next season. Like genuinely.
Yeah.
It's going to be very finesse and very quick.
I know it helps my bet that Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's not confirmed that he's going to the Dolphins, but it looks very likely.
I'd expect him to. Yeah, there's so much talk around that.
Yeah, you say about them winning the Super Bowl. I'm still not convinced not why they've got number one at the helm.
Apparently it's saving them $9 million cap space this year, but leaving them $5.1 million dead cap space this year. But it should be cleared by next year. So, do you think this is a good move for a 28-year-old running back of four 1,000-yard seasons?
A 28 running back who's permanently injured. I can't remember the last time he's had a full season.
Yeah, but he's had 4 1,000-yard seasons in a row, so he can't miss that much time.
He missed 3 games last year. He missed 4 games the year before that, and again, I think he was out 4 or 5 games the season before.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw him get injured 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, that was in San Fran, wasn't it? So yeah, he is a player that takes a lot of knocks, gets a lot of hits. That is going to be the issue. You know, having several different running backs will take the load off him as well, so that makes life a lot easier for him as well.
Yep,
it's not a bad deal. It's not an amazing deal, but it's not a bad deal.
And do you think Alexander Mattison will be able to pick up the slack in Minnesota?
Yeah, what's their running back situation like there now? That's interesting.
The thing that started the Cook speculation was that they gave Mattison a new deal and didn't give Cook one. But
Yeah,
I don't know what they have behind Matson, I have to admit.
I generally do not know off the top of my head. I am just looking as we speak now. Tay Chandler, D1 Bride, and Keena Canal. I can't even pronounce the surnames. I'm not even going to try.
I'm not going to pretend like I know how good they are.
Yeah, it's a very weak running back room now, which is a worry. Obviously, Zeke's still floating around. Could Zeke end up there?
I'm gonna throw this out there. That could be an option.
Go on then.
Elijah Mitchell.
Ooh.
What, your guy?
I'm not saying I want Elijah Mitchell to leave, but I'm just saying, will he be okay being second string behind McCaffrey and not getting that many snaps when we have people like Ty Davis Price, Jordan Mason? Like, do we really need Mitchell?
Depends. Do you want a ring or do you want money?
I'll take the ring.
Yeah. I'd stay there. I'd stay there. See if you can get something from there and go from there.
I mean, I don't see Elijah Mitchell leaving this year because he's still in his rookie deal, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't see. I'm bear in mind. I think you brought it up a couple of weeks ago, Ollie, about Christian McCaffrey, that we got him last season, and touch wood, he had no injuries whatsoever. He played right until we got knocked out in the NFC game.
Yeah.
But McCaffrey, over the last couple of years, like Dalvin Cook, has been injury prone, and that's been down to how the team that he's been on has used him, whether or not he's essentially just been running into a wall every single play and picking up injuries. So maybe having that depth room in the running back, halfback positions is probably good. I mean, I can kind of see the 49ers keeping hold of all of their extra pieces, at least this year, because they're still in that win now mode. And it's like Miami are in that win now mode.
Yeah.
So if Cook does go to, the Dolphins, it's because McDaniels and that organization feel that next season in the AFC, despite the fact that they've been stacked with the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Dolphins, we'll see if Pittsburgh bounce back. We'll see if the Ravens bounce back. You've got the Jags that are still in and around that bubble. So they must feel very confident going into it. And again, keeping Tua or the person under center healthy is probably going to be detrimental, but it also doesn't harm having a really good back room, in the backfield, those extra pieces to rely on.
First off, evening, Will.
Good evening, Will. Good time.
Hey, Will.
I'm starting to question the decisions being made in the front office of the Vikings, to be perfectly honest, because they've moved on from three cornerstones of their franchises this offseason.
Yep.
Adam Thielen,
Yep.
Eric Kendricks, and now Dalvin Cook.
It's a strange one. It really is a strange one, and I don't get it myself. But yeah, it's interesting. They're obviously in the start of a rebuilding phase, but don't want to admit it.
I don't see how they can be at the start of a rebuilding phase when they went 13-4 last season.
13-4 with one score wins, which got very lucky. Personally,
yeah, I know that 13-4 wasn't really representative of them, but still.
Yeah. Shall we roll on Frank Clark?
Okay, I think this is a great signing by the Broncos, to be honest.
Yeah, look at ESPN's depth chart. They put him straight into starting left defensive end, straight up.
Yeah, let's not talk about defensive ends. My brain's fried enough by that.
I mean, to go alongside, you've got the likes of Justin Simmons and Pat Simmons in the secondary. Randy Gregory is not a bad player. Brandon Browning's a good will linebacker as well. There's some, and then you've also got Zach Allen. They're starting to build a very good defense down there in Denver.
Yeah, they are. And
I
know Sean Payton's an offensive mind, but Vic Fangio will have that defense. Is Fangio there, or did he go Dolphins?
He went Dolphins.
Can't remember who the defense coordinator is there, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Sean Payton's got is good enough.
Yeah, I like Sean Payton. Yes, as you said, he's a very offensive mind, but he knows how to put a defense together.
Yes.
New Orleans always had a really good defense, but an explosive offense, but their defense got them always deep into the playoffs.
Yes.
Despite some dodgy calls.
I mean, Frank Clark is getting. Oh, we talking about that pass interference goal?
Yes. Well remembered. I
I remember that because I had a bet on New Orleans to make the Super Bowl that year.
So Frank Clark is born 93, so that makes him 30. Or rolling into he's 30 next
Wow,
week.
I thought he was older than that.
And he's 30 next week. So yeah, it's something to build on. They're going to get one season out of it, 7 million, wasn't it? So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good signing for them. I think I do like that one.
And if he performs, they can always extend him.
Agreed. On to Josh Allen.
Oh, this is not news. I'm sorry, but this is not news.
Well, you created the banners.
Will just said, wouldn't mind seeing Cook at Pittsburgh this coming season. Just to say, do you not think Najee Harris is good enough, or are you saying you want to run a sort of two-back offense sort of thing?
Teams nowadays either run two team running back, or two tight end running back. That's where they seem to be going nowadays, aren't they?
I know I did create the banners because it's considered news, but my point is it shouldn't be considered news.
The news is the Madden curse.
It's literally so minimal. Oh, Josh Allen's going to be on the cover of Madden 24. Big work. Move on.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Madden curse going to kick in. He'll be out by game 10. It's fine. Spurs tickets.
Yeah, Spurs tickets. If I recall, season ticket holders are the 14th,
12th and 13th, and you can renew them on the 5th. No, you can remove or add tickets from the 15th off the top of my head. Yeah. So Will's come back and said...
Then they go on general sale on the 22nd of June.
Yeah. So Will's said we run off a 2 running back offense, but they are after a third from what I've been reading. So yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. Carry on, mate.
I believe they go on general sale on the 22nd of June. I believe Shane's made a mental note of that for the Ravens game.
Yes, I believe he has. I think he'll be there going refresh to hope to get a ticket.
But I also think he might be in luck because I feel like the other game is going to be more popular.
Maybe, but it's been a long time since Ravens been over. So we'll see.
True.
Very, very true. Anything you want to add to the Josh Allen or the Spurs tickets, Mr. Perrin?
I just really want to go. I really want to go. I want a big, fat, third and long pod reunion live stream outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, not White Hart Lane.
Yes.
That's what I really want to do because it's going to be the only time that they're going to enjoy anything that's continental this year.
Ooh.
I'm not.
Did they not make the little? No, did they not?
They finished 8th. Finished 8th.
I'm not going to say a word.
Kane needs to go to Man United.
No, Kane's actually happy with never winning anything in his entire life. So
careful, Mr. Perrins. There is a Spurs fan listening.
I'm just saying, Harry Kane has no motivation to actually do anything with his life. Otherwise, if he did, he'd go to Real Madrid and actually win things.
Maybe wrong sport for now.
Okay.
Though he does have aspirations of being a punter, doesn't he? Like he's talked about his own love for the American football game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his game, isn't it? That's his aim for Longford.
Anyway, should we move on to the main part of this podcast?
Let's roll.
So before we do, did we go into like Frank Clark? Did we talk about it?
Yes.
Oh, we did. Oh, I must have completely missed that. Sorry.
You even contributed to it, Mr. Perrins.
Oh, my bad. Did I? Oh my God, it's been a week. All right, that's fine.
Okay, so the main part of this podcast is we're looking into britball a bit more with these two ex-britball players.
Oh, yes.
And they're going to talk about their experiences.
Oh, and actually, yeah.
So I think the best place to start is if you tell us who you played for, how long you played for, and the position you played.
Mm-hmm.
Go on,
Mr. Butler, do you want to go first?
I was going to offer you because yours is a bit more trickier than yours because you play two positions, mate.
Yes. So I am Phil Perrins. My nickname at university was L'Oreal, and I can answer that reason why a little bit later on. And I played for the Worcester Wolves from 2009 up until 2012, and then I played a bit of senior ball for a season, and then I moved down here and then played for Bedford. So I played for Bedford for 2 years until lockdown, and then I've just been playing flag ever since.
What positions did you play while you were?
So I played nearly everything. So my main positions was defensive lineman, and then I moved to tight end. But I've also played offensive line as well when we were incredibly low. But defensive end and tight end were my preferred positions.
Nice. So yeah, as it says along the bottom of my name for the people who can't see, yeah, I played for the Worcester Black Knights. I played for defensive back. So I played from 2014 when they were founded through to 2017 from where I ruptured my patellar tendon. Playing football, not American football. Yeah, so I played there. I played mainly under man coverage because I'm ashamed to say anything, my zone coverage was crap. And I did fill in a special team sometimes as well. I stayed on the dark side of the ball. It's far much more fun than playing on the the scoring side because you get hit people on the dark side.
So that's running of that hard knocks bit where it's like training camps great because you get to hit people.
Yeah, it is because obviously we ran scrimmages and you ran like the same as you do with OTAs. You run just no pads, no helmets. It's a bit of glorified flag football, really. You still get a few lads get a bit of exuberant. One lad did go off with a concussion due to like a non-padded, non-hard contact session, which was quite funny. But yeah, it was something else. I mean, I really enjoyed my time. I saw an advert on Facebook about the team starting up, and I thought, you know what? I love American football. I want to go and give it a go. And my only regret is I didn't start playing at a younger age because I absolutely loved it when my body was actually able to play football. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, one of my fondest memories it must have been about 3 months in. I didn't have any gloves, didn't have any receiving gloves, and our quarterback the guy who went to quarterback, his name was Ben Dillon. He used to play wide receiver, and he gave me his gloves. And in the training session, I literally, Odell Beckham style, picked him off. Cheers for the gloves. I'll keep them now, but they stink. I mean, do you remember your first touchdown, your first score?
Yes. Yeah. So it came against Lincoln. So, right. So one of the reasons why I love playing on the light side of the ball is because I had 3 to 4 really, really close mates on that American football team, and I lived with one of them as well. And one of my best mates was the quarterback. One of my other best mates, who I was best man at his wedding, was the running back, and then my other best mate was the wide receiver. So I played tight end. So I loved playing the offensive side of the ball because it was almost like in the longest yard when they just play, what was it called when they just prat about football? What do they call it? Just where they're just like throwing the ball to each other and just not just pratting about
in the mud stuff.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it was between the 4 of us because we were all really, really tight mates. And like our quarterback, his name was Matt Aston. We called him Jammy because he used to train in his pajama bottoms. That was just his weird thing. Like I always had to play. Yeah. So like when he had his lowers, like he'd have his lowers and he would always put like his pajama bottoms over the top and we called him Jammy. That was his thing. That was like his little kind of little trademark, whilst I always played with bright coloured gloves because I thought, well, if I had bright coloured gloves, Matt knew exactly where to aim. Like, if he's looking out for me, he's like, oh, where's Perrins? Oh, he's the one with the pink gloves. And I always had like pink gloves, I had green gloves, I had anything that would stand out for my uniform so that he would notice me. So that was my little thing. So I played with my best mates, and it was against Lincoln. And I kid you not, it was one of these weird moments that I actually couldn't believe my luck because, in hindsight, if you ever
we've lost him
to he went to go pass the ball, and he got tipped by a defensive lineman. So it kind of like flickered, and it landed. It landed in my hands completely by accident because it wasn't even, he wasn't even aimed for me. And it was like I held it, went, oh crap, this ball's not for me. Oh crap, I've got to run. Like it was just one of those weird moments. I mean, it was only like maximum 10 yards, but I just caught it, and I went, oh crap, I've actually got to run with this now. Like it was just so surreal. So that was my first score, and then obviously I went absolutely crazy when I scored my first touchdown. Did you ever see the Newcastle United player? What was his name? Community Ketspire. When he scored that goal, he went absolutely ape.
Yes,
and kicked it forward.
The goal against Bolton, just like that.
Yeah. And like he went absolutely proper mental. That was me when I first scored. I was like, yeah, literally went proper ape because I didn't know what to do. But like I only scored 4 times in 3 years. But that was one of my favorite moments because it was a touchdown that should never have been. It should have gone to my mate Wags, but it fell to me, and then I got the glory. But yeah, it was against the Lincoln Commanders.
Did you have a gritty?
The what?
Did you have a gritty?
A buddy.
Gritty.
Oh yeah, I had a chicken dance.
Oh yeah.
So like I would like either get like like how Kittle does like that little thing with his hand.
Yeah.
Like I would do like the chicken dance and then lay the ball like an egg. Like it was just that's just kind of that was because Kevin Nolan, he was playing for Newcastle at the time, and when Kevin Nolan scored, Ollie, he would do the chicken dance for us, and that's kind of where I got it from.
I have to admit, when you said chicken dance, I was thinking more Merton Hanks, but yeah.
No, not Merton Hanks. I'm talking proper Kevin Nolan.
I had a couple of picks, but that was about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a pick 6. I think the most I made was about 30 yards, and then like I saw like a 200-pound lineman running at me, and I go,
So
I'm taking a safe option going out that way. I don't want to get crushed.
What was your celebration, Ollie, if Phil had the chicken dance?
I didn't really have one. It's always like you throw the ball up in the air kind of thing. I didn't, because I never scored. I never had a touchdown.
Yeah,
The best I had was like,
I know the amount you see the DBs celebrate batting away a ball.
I loved one of my mates, Charlie. He used to hate me going up against him when we were in scrimmage because he'd always get separation. He would never know how I'd get back to the ball. I'm not the quickest bloke in the world, but I'd always have the habit of get hands to the ball, and he hated it. So how do you get that? It's just, I'm a defender by chance. I mean, when I was playing like round football, I played in defence. So I just like hitting people. When you play centre half, the first thing you do is wipe out the wingers. Like, it's just... I do remember one game. It was against Jurassic Coast, and the quarterback literally was literally dancing around. He had all the time in the world, but the wide receivers were all covered. And then he goes, "What just went?" I think it felt like it was like 10 minutes, but it must have been about 10 seconds, if that. And I knew he went past the line of scrimmage, and that's it. I just went and just went bang, and just took him clean out. And it's like, that felt a really good hit. It's like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, that felt good.
I remember once I came into work on a Monday morning, and this guy, he played American football, he played safety. He came up to me and he's like, Ollie, yesterday I absolutely nailed someone in the B gap. It felt so good.
I mean, I didn't really blitz unless, like, obviously the QB came out, but it's like
I went in shoulder first and drove him to the ground. It felt so good. I was like, remind me to never cross you.
It is nice because we're taught to tackle properly and all that. It is almost taught to tackle rugby style.
Yeah.
But occasionally you go a little bit higher and catch them just under the pads, and you hear them wince as you hit the ground. It's like, it feels so nice hitting that. It's like, yeah. I mean, I'd love to go back to play again, but A, my body wouldn't take it, and B, I generally don't think I have any more time to be doing stuff like this than I do. I do enough as it is. I absolutely loved it. I mean, so many fond memories. I mean, rookie karaoke on the first away game. What was yours?
That was my next question.
Basket Case by Green Day. Yeah, we'd have the mic because like on our coach, it was the coach that we always had like a microphone at the front of the car. I don't know whether or not it was just and the chairman or the social sec on the way home. that's when it would. It was like drawing rookies out of like a hat, but like they already knew who they were going to have in what order.
Yeah.
And so when it came up to like L'Oreal, you're up. So I had to stand up in the front of the coach and as we were like pegging it down. I can't remember what game it was when I was doing it. It must have been maybe like Exeter, like the first away game, because I know it was pretty early on. And it was Basket Case by Green Day.
Ollie, what was yours?
Because I can, was it? I think it was either Robbie Williams, Angels, or Millennium. I can't remember which one it was. But it's one of them ones. It's like I could just sit there and do Linkin Park, but I don't want to sound like too much like a twat. I'm just gonna do that. Everyone can sing. It's like right, I'll do like that. Everyone can see it. Right, that'll do. And if I start back up, it's fine. Yeah, everyone else can join in. And it's like, yeah, I had 4 or 5 beers by that time, so I was like,
Millennium because it wasn't actually this millennium.
No. It was no. I mean, you have a few beers on the way home, you know, especially you're not driving, and it's like, you know, we got trounced most games. I think our best record was like 3-6 or something, 3-7 or something stupid like that. You know, we never won many games. I think we went a year and a half without winning near enough. But
do you know what, like you stand that though, like I totally agree with you about like the away games, like the coaches, because I loved playing away games more so than like the home games, because it's a day out, isn't it? Like it's a day out with your mates.
Yep.
And obviously, like in the morning, you'll rock up, and you're hyper focused, you're sleepy, you're kind of like, you know, you kind of wired for the game. But then once the game's over and you go to like the socials for like the food, and you drive back, and you don't get back until like late afternoon or late evening, and if we're like when we played Exeter, and I absolutely loved it. Like it was just such a great time. I think I enjoyed those more than the actual socials that we used to have, because you're all trapped like a giant tube of metal, and you can't go anywhere. And it's not like somebody can, like, you know, not turn up to a social. You've got the entire team there in a situation where they can just sit and chat and chill and just kind of like have a really great time. And I those are things that I took for granted then, that I really miss now. Like the longer the journey, I think the longest journey we have ever had was Exeter and then York. And I love those ones. I mean, going to Birmingham always was a ball ache because Birmingham's not that far. But like, you know, like we play Lincoln away or Warwick, or when we play Aberystwyth. Those are relatively decent ones. Or when we play Bath.
Yeah, I mean, we had Bristol Aztecs, Swindon Storm, Jurassic Coast, which is like Exeter down that area.
Yeah.
And who were the other ones? Aztecs, Swindon, Bristol. And there was another one. Sometimes there was a team in Wales. I can't remember or another one. I can't remember the other one was, but they were ridiculous. I mean, Aztecs were hot. I hated playing Bristol. Hated it with a passion, because literally it felt like you were playing against full-on bloody NFL players. They seem to be twice the size and twice the speed of you.
Yeah.
It's insane. It really is. But I mean, we had a text communication midweek, didn't we, about our first playing games.
Yeah.
It hurt the next day. I mean, obviously I used to scrimmages, but I don't know what it is, but scrimmages, you get used to it. You get like, okay, yeah, the hits are probably about 80%. You don't go in like because you don't want to kill your mates. But when you get hit by someone else, I mean, I did more hits than anything else, but I swear my shoulders and my legs were burning for about 48 hours after the first game.
Yeah.
Never felt pain like it.
Yeah, I literally, my first game was against Oxford, and it was a home game, and I played special teams that game as well, and I got hit, and obviously like getting like blocking as well on the offense, and the couple of catches that I made, I got absolutely dilled as well. And like during the game, you just got, all right, I'm up, because like the pads, because your adrenaline's going, and the pads do protect you to a degree, and I found that even though, you know, I was always meticulous with warming down, like warming up. Yeah, I'll do my hammies, do my shoulders, you know, not giving it like full everything, but like warming down. I knew after that first game, I had to massively look after myself as I came down. But like those first couple of days afterwards, where like you said, like my shoulders, my neck, it hurt so much.
Yeah, the pain was horrible.
On the Tuesday.
Mr. Perrins is in and out as always.
Like Phil said, his nickname was L'Oreal, and when he comes back, I'll ask him why. Did you have any nicknames?
I had Kenobi. That was one of them.
Why?
OBH Kenobi, as in
Okay.
Obi-Wan. And then I obviously had the standard Butler. I got called Butler a lot. Pretty much a lot of the sports I did is like, oh, Butler. I was like, over and over. And I generally it didn't bother me. Butler, Kenobi, whatever you wanted to be called, it didn't bother me. I just loved it. But the hits, I mean, I remember my first hit. It was a tip. Ball got tipped in a match, and it was against who was it? Against Swindon. That was in the third or fourth game we played against Swindon. Tipped, and it was like, ball's come to me. What am I going to do? And I think I took about 3 steps, and I just got power drive by a tight end. Is like, that hurt so badly. Took the wind out of me. I was like, yeah, thank God the offense having the ball for a bit because I want to rest. Like unloosening your pads just to get your chest up. Just, because it's different. You're blocking and all that. Your hands on each other. You're not actually getting hit that much on the defensive side, especially in britball, because there's a lot more running side of it.
Nice. So Phil, do you want to explain the L'Oreal nickname?
Yes.
So, right. So, when my first night out with the socials, and it was right. So to explain how I ended up playing for the American football team, is I went to uni to initially play rugby. I wanted to go play rugby, and rugby and traditional English soccer because I was a goalkeeper in high school, and I played county, and I was fairly decent at the level. And so I went to the football social, and I was like, oh God, I just didn't fit in. And then I remember the rugby social, and it was almost like they were trying to test the waters because I went with my mate Wags as well, who ended up playing American football with us. And it was like, all right, guys, it's a dirty pint, and then it was like a pint of piss. Like genuinely, he's just like, neck this down if you want to be part of the team. And I was like going,
oh my God.
I was like, I literally looked around. That's blatantly not going to happen. And then I just left. And then it was like the second round of sports fair, and it was just, I remember his name now. It was Matthew Watson. His nickname was Freddie because his nickname was Fred Flintstone, because he looked like Fred Flintstone. And and he's like, oh, you're quite big. Do you want to come and play American football? And I was like going, oh, we've actually got a team here. Like, that's actually kind of cool. I said, like, I grew up watching it, and it was like, oh, mate, you played rugby, you're a goalkeeper, you're perfect for it. Like, you're big, you're 6 foot, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went to the social night,
and heels on when you said you were 6 foot?
What?
Did you have your heels on when you said you were 6 foot?
I'm honest, met me. I'm tall, and we all got like zip tied to a veteran, so we were stuck with them all night. So if we had a drink, we had to drink with them. If they had to go to the toilet, we had to go to the toilet with them, and just kind of like, it's what we would call like normal, like kind of friendly hazing, if that makes sense. It wasn't like, oh, drink this pint of piss if you want to play for us. It was just kind of like, we're just gonna have a bit of fun, and we're just gonna like push the boundaries a little bit. And I quite like that.
Like do Smiley.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, and the veterans gave their rookies nicknames, and like I had like, not so much like you guys see me on an evening because I've already had a shower, but like I normally like gel my hair up in hairspray, and I've got like a big kind of like Motley Crue, Robert Smith from The Cure, kind of like big bushy hair. And like he asked me, like the guy was called J Lam. He's like, oh, lad from Birmingham. So he's like, well, like, Phil, like, what do you do with your hair? And I went, well, I put like wax in and then do it. And he said, oh, what shampoo do you use? And I went, L'Oreal, because it's like the best hair. Like it's the best for your product. He's like, that's what I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you L'Oreal. And it was like L'Oreal because I'm worth it. So that's to be fair, on the grand scheme of things, I probably had the best nicknames out of quite a lot of them. Like my mate Wags, his name was Andy Wager, and they just called him Wags for sure. That's literally like the height of some of it. It was like Fred Flintstone. Our social sec was, I can't say what his nickname was on air because it will get us cancelled.
Does it rhyme with
Speedo?
Goat?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Drop yes.
And our chairman was called Swampy because he literally looked like Stig of the Dump. Like he looked like he lived on a swamp. It was, you know, it's just like so L'Oreal and like my Hall of Fame jersey that was given when I went to the Hall of Fame says L'Oreal on the back, and no, that was it for like 3 years. I knew walking around campus, I knew who knew me from class and who knew me from drama and who knew me from American football because they would call me like Perrins, Pezza, or L'Oreal. It was just kind of like that around campus.
I mean, yeah, going into work on a Monday after a game, you know, the first question was, where does it hurt today?
Yeah.
I mean, I do miss some of the guys I played with. I had some really good mates, you know, been all over, you know, I've watched games with them, you know, and all this in the pubs, you know, and all that. I do miss that kind of side of it, and you do miss the social interaction.
Yeah,
you know, whether it's the away games or the social nights out. I mean, our Christmas do one year was in a brewery. It was in a brewery. You know, how mental is that?
That must have been interesting.
Oh, it was insane. Don't remember how I got home, which is a little bit more worrying.
As long as you made, to be fair, as long as you made it home, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I made it home. You know, there was some. Yeah, I never had the chain, you know, zip tied to anyone, anything like that. There was like, yeah, just down this pint. And it was like, it wasn't a full-on dirty pint. It was like there was several different, like, it didn't have any optics because we were in the brewery. It was like...
So basically what you're saying is it was a Ring of Fire pint?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, and it's like, yeah, just nail this. Yeah, it's like...
To be fair, I'm glad you know what Ring of Fire pint is. I wasn't sure you would.
I know what a Ring of Fire pint is, mate. I've worked in the pub trade long enough. I know what a Ring of Fire pint is. It's literally just nail it. It's like... I'm going to have to go spew my guts up now. Literally, otherwise I'm going to die. I'm going to spew my guts up. But yeah, there's some things. I mean, that's when I found out I could actually drink vodka quite well. That in my first like year of American football, it was insane.
So Bill, have you ever thought about going back to it?
Yes. So I was playing just before lockdown, so that season they actually cancelled it in the Britball. So I was playing it still when I came down. And I really liked it, and obviously lockdown hit, which affected the next 2 seasons in the UK. And then I started getting back into like doing some flag, but I kind of a little bit like Ollie, and this isn't an excuse because I've had multiple conversations with like my friends and my peers about it because not many of us play anymore. But like, I have a full-time job where I need to be at my job. Like on that Monday morning, I need to be in that job. So whether or not if I do work on the weekends or Sunday night, but I kind of don't always want to go up against somebody that's going to just beat the living daylights out of me and knowing that I need to then hobble back into school Monday, Tuesday, and it's. And I kind of if I was like a professional athlete, right, where it was my job to play American football, I'd absolutely love it. Like, but I just think like you said, Ollie. I mean, I know you've got like kids as well, mate. But like, I've got other priorities that I do, and I can't always commit to training during the week because depending on what happens on the school, whether or not it's like parents' evening, I've got workload or I've got other events going on. I would love to, but I actually would prefer playing flag. I think I would much prefer like doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even contemplate it. I mean, I know there's no teams near now. I think Hereford Stampede are the closest now, which is a good 30, 40 miles away.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my old team, because Worcester's not around anymore. They fell apart during the COVID, like a lot of teams did. So I know a lot of my guys play for Birmingham and Sandwell. So there's a couple of teams around there.
Yeah, Steelers. I need some friends that play for Steelers.
I mean, a lot of the guys that we had played for Gloucester Gladiators, which also fell apart, unfortunately. That's how Worcester born, because people went from Gloucester to Worcestershire. I would love to go playing again. I know my body wouldn't take it. There is a flag team near us. It's Cheltenham Neptunes. They train on a Thursday night and they play on a Sunday, so it's done. Can't do it, unfortunately. I mean, as Phil said, you know, missing football training as in soccer training, at an amateur level isn't as bad as it is missing like American football training. Purely because of the fact is with soccer, yes, you're missing a bit of fitness and a bit of extra, might be a match game on Saturday and stuff like that. But American football, if you miss American football when you're scrimmaging, you're missing your body getting used to hits and getting used to contact and all that.
Yeah.
I remember my first hit in training, and that shook me up. And I was like, I was a bit shy going to a couple of training sessions. I was a bit nervous going into it, going, this is actually a lot more powerful than I thought it was. Because for the first 4 months, something like that, there wasn't no hits. It was literally, like I said, it's playing glorified flag football. Until we got the helmets, and then we got the pads, and then you had all the seven pad lowers. I was like, whoa, this is completely different than what I've been playing the last 4 months. And it took easily 2 or 3 weeks to get used to getting hit.
Yeah. Yeah. What I found quite difficult as well is when I first started playing, as before I started practicing in my second going into my third year playing defensive end as well, is I focused so much on my initial technique of route running, catching, like just getting that, and then the blocking for like the running plays and the passing plays and like my footwork, and get like the right hand movements up as well for like whether or not I'm blocking or like catching. But then when you actually do that in like a scrimmage or like a practice where you're going up against the defense, and because of that camaraderie, that even though you're quite tight in training, defense always wants to beat the living daylights out of you, and offense always wants to make the defense look daft, because these are all our plays. These are the plays that we're going to beat the opposition with, and we're gonna put them up against you guys. So it was always that kind of like, well, we need this to work, because if we can't beat our defense, how are we gonna beat the opposition's defense, and vice versa? Like we want to be primed to stop our offense. So if we can stop how good they are, we'll stop their production. We're going to have a good game the weekend. So it was all that kind of camaraderie. So, like my first catch, I caught it, and then I got full on hit by a lad called Toffee, and he was extra big lad as well. He wasn't a big guy, but when he tackled you, it was like being hit by a small car. Like he full on. Andy always full on hit you. Like he really did. And I used to hate when we used to do tackling drills if I would ever go up against him, because I knew he was going to, like I said before, I'm quite big, I'm quite broad. And I always fancied my chances in one-to-ones against anyone on that team, unless I was going up against Toffee, because Toffee would steamroll straight through me. And it always used to frustrate me, because like for 3 years, I never beat him once in training. So yeah, that first time that he hit me, he full on took me out. And it shook me. Like it full on really, really shook me. But it didn't make me want to play any less. It was just next time I'm going to do this to him. Next time I'm not going to give him that opportunity. Next time I'm going to be a little bit quicker, or I'm going to sidestep. And you're constantly thinking then a little bit more about your game, instead of just run, catch, run again. You're like thinking, well, I need to evade. I've got like half a second to catch the ball here before I see somebody in my peripheral. Or so it kind of it shocked me, but then it made me think about, I don't want that to happen again. What do I need to do next? So that's kind of that was mine. But getting hit for the first couple of times in training, and it just I loved it, because I also got like a couple of scars as well in training. But my second concussion, just going back onto like an injury, I got a concussion against Bath in my second year, and it was like the weirdest experience I've ever had in my life. I had a mild concussion against Birmingham, but the one against Bath, I got full on hit in the head, and the coach had to pull me out of the game, because I went to line up, and then I moved before. It wasn't just like I just moved before they snapped. I just started moving up and down the line, like I wasn't even motioning. Like I was just kind of like just in no man's land, and we got flagged for it. And then I got like a massive volley going, L'Oreal, stop prattling about. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on here. What have I just done? And I got pulled out of the game completely. But have you ever been concussed, Ollie?
No, I mean, I got head-to-head contact. It was a glancing blow kind of thing as he was going to tackle. It was a glancing blow. it wasn't concussion. I had all checked and like, yeah, you're not concussed, all right? You just because I had a little bit. I was like, I think it was third quarter, and it was against. Yeah, all right. Who the Jurassic? That was it. It was down. It was at home against Jurassic, and yeah, it was one of those ones. It was just like we were both going for the ball, and it was literally heads at the same time, and it was like a glance. It was like kind of a glancing blow, and it's like, oh. I stood up and just went, whoa, that doesn't feel right. And I went down. And then obviously the medical staff came on because I went down. I got like arms around off and like R2'd off. And I was like, how do you feel? I said, just feel a little bit dizzy, like, you know. But within, right, Eco, that's it. You're done. You're done for the game. You're out.
Yeah.
And I got off, sat down for a couple of minutes. And probably by the end of the game, by the time I was like, we got changes, I felt okay.
Yeah.
I got told like you go straight to hospital, get yourself checked, and I thought, yeah, that's fine. And I was told like no sports for like a couple of weeks just to rule everything out.
Yeah, I didn't play for a couple of weeks as well, and it was before we didn't have concussion protocol at uni. It was just kind of like, all right, you've been hit, you had an injury, take 2 weeks off. And I think my first one, it was on a bye week anyway, so it didn't actually really affect the game because I then managed a couple of minutes for when we played against someone in Swansea. I think it was Swansea that we played. So, but yeah, the bath one really, really shocked me. And I think I missed then the next full-on game against that as well. Just a quick one, Ollie. I've got 2 questions that I really want to ask you because I want to tell you mine, but I also really, really want to hear yours as well. What was your favorite ever moment playing American football? Like your defining moment?
I had one guy. It was one, and we were in the red. They were in the red zone, and for some reason, I was in a zone coverage, and because we're shorter players, I was like, right, you need to step up in your zone today.
Yeah.
And I was playing in the shallow quarters, so I was literally dropped into 5 and came in, and it was a crossing route, and somehow I managed to get to the ball. Get my hand on the ball and punch the ball out of the guy because he picked it up and he was literally crossing it and got the tackle. As I came in and got the tackle and punched it out, and our defensive back Steve literally grabbed her and literally ran 80 yards for like pick 6 for 6. And that I was like, I set that up. It's like an assist in football. I set that up. My punch got that out. Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. And it was like, I will, but I literally like chasing him down the full 80 lengths of the yard. I've never ran that far in my entire life in any sport I've done. And it's like, come on! Yeah, that was probably my favourite moment I've ever done, along with picking off Ben's like literally 20 minutes after he gave me his gloves in the practice session.
That's quality. That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Have
you told mine? So first year of uni, I know I peaked at this point. I didn't score in this game, but I actually think it's my favorite ever performance of me playing American football, and we played varsity. Now, for those who don't know, at university, you normally are paired with another university where every year you have what they call like varsity events where your football team plays their football team. Your netball team plays there, and it's like a score-based process. It's just like, us versus them. And Worcester, that particular year, I don't think that they were basically getting hammered in terms of Gloucester just spanked us at every one of our sports. And the American football one was the penultimate event. It was rugby union was the last one. So Worcester had already lost the varsity cup. But the individual game between us and theirs, it was the Gloucester Gladiators, and it was like personally, like for me, it's a bit of an all over game because I had some stuff that was going on in my life, so I was really hyper focused on. I'm going to take out all my anger, all my frustration on the Gloucester Gladiators. I'm going to, and we beat them 57-0. And honestly, it was amazing because we finished the season with a losing record anyway. But we played varsity, we played against Gloucester, and we absolutely clapped them. It was the biggest attendance that we'd had at that point as a team. My parents came down to watch me. and my gran came down because she passed away not long after, so she actually got to see me play American football, and we absolutely spanked them. So even though I didn't score, I contributed to the victory, and like my best mate, he got like MVP of that game as well, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was such a great game, and that's if when I look back at like my time playing American football at uni, it was varsity season 1. I loved it.
Phil, this is just a quick one for you.
Yeah.
Did you prefer playing offense or defense? I know they're hard to compare, but
right. So I said this. It sounds really daft, but like in my 3rd year, when I left and I got my colours and I went into like the American Football Hall of Fame, like at the university, because I also helped run the team as well in my 2nd and 3rd year, and I said like in part of my speech that I love playing for the Royals. I have an addicted personality, gents. Like I'm all or nothing. Like you either get 100% of me or I don't bother. It's kind of all of that. And I gave my all emotionally to like the team that I loved for like the 3 years. And I said in my speech that one of my favorite moments was it was our penultimate game, and some of the veterans all got pulled. And we sat on the bench. I don't know why. It was the head coach at the time was like, well, we're not going to be part of our plans next year, so we're going to pull you now. So on the bench there was me, Jamie, Jimmy Lane, Tom McKenzie, and Andy Wager, and we're all just sitting there. And I'm looking up and down the line and just going, you four are like my best mates. Like you've been like you've been close mates of mine for like 3 years, and I don't know, it's just that camaraderie. So I don't know whether or not I enjoyed the offense or the defense. I kind of just remember the memories and the people that I got to know really, really well. So I would probably say offense because my friends were there.
Yeah, fair enough. What was your worst injury? Was it the concussion? Or do you have any recent ones?
Concussion, yes, because I don't think I'd ever felt as ill before. But probably at the beginning of the 2nd season. Again, playing tight end, the amount of like, I very rarely ever got like full on rammed into for like a tackle. The amount of times I would get cut blocked either at the line of scrimmage or as I'm running with the ball, and that really took its toll on my right knee, because when I was in high school, I broke my leg playing for the school football team, and it was a pretty bad break. I was in the cast for like quite a long period of time, and I didn't play football for the rest of that season. So I always had like a dodgy right knee, and yeah, the amount of times I would get cut blocked was insane. So I think it was just that accumulation of that over a long period of time. I used to have.
Don't think you talked to Ollie about dodgy knees.
Yeah.
Hey, Ollie, when you hit your 30s, mate, that's literally when you wake up in the morning and everything cracks, and you tend to find like your knees sound like cement grinders. Like it's just not.
Yes.
Like,
my knee sounds like his pebbles grinding against each other.
Like, a mate of mine at work, she actually said today, like I sat up in my chair and I cracked my neck, and she said it sounded like a bendy straw. Like it was just kind of like it was like, oh, that sounds horrible. It's like a bendy straw. And I went, yeah, that's literally it. No, that's literally just playing sports at quite like a high ability, but also hitting your 30s, man, just everything just slows down and hurts.
It's fine. I'd say I'm still in my early 20s.
I mean,
exactly,
I've been playing
mate.
sports now for what? Since I was 8. So
yeah, did I?
33 years now. 33 years, and it's now. I mean, I can't bend down without my knees going grinding. It sounds like a pepper grinder grinding together. Yeah, it's like, and my hips. I can crack my hip. That thing. My hands crack. My neck cracks. My back cracks. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna literally just douse myself in WD-40 from like next year onwards. I think it's like I've got a scar on my left knee where I ruptured my patellar tendon, and the knee surgeon comes down the next morning and goes, "Yeah, we've got a perfect scar for replace your knee." I was like, I'm 35. I don't want to think about that now. It's like it's horrible. I mean, dislocated enough fingers playing American football. Where you catch the ball or you catch in the gloves and stuff like that.
So I mean, I'll show you in person, but like because I was a goalkeeper and then I played tight end, none of my fingers are straight, Ollie. Like they're all slightly bent. Like
look at my knuckles. All
I know. Oh my god, yeah,
And that
exactly.
one there. Yeah, I got hit in the. Yeah, this past mine. I got hit in the bollocks once. That was quite bad. I don't know how it happened or what happened. I just remember that instant. I've just been punched in the bollocks type situation. I don't even know how it happened. Literally, I was following the guy and I broke on his route, and I felt this massive pain in my bollocks. It's like, the fuck just happened there? And literally, I went down. I'm just going to trip you because I'm not going to get the ball. You're not going to get the ball. And it's like, yeah, that really hurt.
Did you get caught for tripping?
No, because the play broke down, luckily. But there was a running play, so it was a fake route, and I have no idea what happened. It's like really hurt, and I was like, give me a couple of minutes just to I need to sub out for a minute, chaps.
What was your worst injury playing football, American football? Because obviously I know you've done a lot playing football.
I my dizziness, my head hit. That was quite. I mean, I've clashed heads playing football millions and times. You get up to headers and stuff like that, but you've got this, extra 2 kilograms like wrapped around this guy's head, and you're wrapped around your head. But having that was pretty scary. Feeling really dizzy from the hit. I turned my ankle quite nasty. I was trying to break on a route, and the ground was uneven, and my ankle just goes, yeah, you're not doing that one, and that went down, and that hurt. I got bollocked for that. What are you going down for? I've just literally ankles the size of a bloody beach ball. What do you think happened there? It's like, okay. Yeah, that was probably that. I mean, you get your fingers bent back in when you get tipped and stuff like that. But I'd never had real nasty things, a couple of bruised ribs. My stomach was always bruised. My upper legs were always bruised, despite all the padding and all that. You're just covered in bruises for literally from March to about September.
Yeah, I learned very early on that, and I learned it from a coach actually. It's like we would normally be encouraged to tape up our wrists and our fingers with medical tape, but medical tape is quite expensive. So a coach that we had advised us to use electrical tape.
Yeah.
Because one, it was incredibly cheap and you could buy it in big packs, and it did the exact same thing. So I would have different color electrical tape around my fingers so that it wouldn't put it on my wrist, and I would also tape up my ankle as well. Just because I'd never wanted to it happened once. Well, it happened a couple of times when I played normal football on an AstroTurf, but some of the biggest pain I'd ever have is when you would roll your ankle, when you get tackled and you just roll. I hate rolling. I just hate it because I've really badly bruised it a couple of years ago actually playing football. So I would heavily use electrical tape, and I did right up until I stopped playing recently. Actually,
I had one of the guys literally had you'd think he'd have cardboard literally strapped. He had that much tape. And wrapped around his arm, literally from about there to there. Instead of buying sleeves, he just rolled bloody bandage and electrical tape around his arm.
Nice.
Before we wrap this up, did you have any superstitions?
Yes, I did. All right. So, I guess it was very different at university because what used to happen is before every single game, we would call what we'd call the card check, where we would hand over our university cards to a member of the opposition, where they would come over just to basically check that whoever was playing was actually a university student and not some form of ex-NFL protege, or ex-college player. So they would have us standing in a long line, and then they would call our names out, and our team used to do a bit of a tunnel. One would get called out and send one side, and the next one would come with that side, and as we'd come through, we'd cheer them on. It was kind of just our way of just motivating the team. And because halfway through my first year, right up until I finished, I became captain, which was because it rubbed some of the veterans up the wrong way. Actually, that a rookie was made captain, but I'm just a very I'm just a very vocal gobshite, and I'm not afraid to just say my opinions, like I do on the show. And my superstition is I would make sure that my card was called out last. So I would make sure I was the last one to hand them over, or I would make sure that my card was at the back so that the person would call my name at last. And I would almost like, when my name gets called out, I'm like walking up and down like the sideline, like almost like a bull, like scratch, like with my feet, we like raring to go. Somebody goes, L'Oreal, Phil Paris. I'd like go, almost like Roman Reigns in the WWE, like, and I'd run through like doing the chicken, and then I get them all in the huddle, and I do like the talk to motivate us, because we used to do the Dallas Cowboys. Ooh, yeah, we're right. Like
we used to do that as well, because obviously we had a lot
baby,
of boys come across as well.
Yeah, it's on, baby. Ooh, so yeah, we'd end up like doing that. So that was my superstition, that I had to be called last. Yeah, I had to be. And if I didn't, I just knew it was going to be a bad game.
Nice. I didn't really have any. I just always made sure I had like literally a 4-pack of Lucozade and a few bananas with me as well to go through there. Literally, I'd make sure my arms, my arms were strapped up, my wrists. I'd always strap my wrists up last for some strange reason. Yeah. Over and under my gloves.
Yeah.
Which is really strange, because obviously the gloves, you got your gloves on for the whole game. Can't take them off, which is really weird, but I just liked having them on there, because sometimes they get really sweaty. I found they're really difficult to take off. So you've got tape over them, you can't take them off.
I tell you what I discovered as well, Ollie, eye black. I discovered eye black, and I used to turn myself into the Ultimate Warrior. Like literally, I'll just do like the Ultimate Warrior face paint in the mirror.
While my mate would do a pat face. Ever. I never had any of it. I didn't feel that I needed it. I just let my game do the talking. That sounds really, really corny. But
I was all about theatrics. I was all about the theatrics. I was like, I need my pink gloves. I need to be called out last. I need to make myself look like the Ultimate Warrior. My mate was the running back, and he used to do it himself like a cat, because he thought he had like agility like a cat. So like honestly. Yeah, literally, like little black around the nose. He used to do the whiskers and everything. Like honestly, that was his thing. He had to be the cat.
You didn't have an Aiden Hutchinson just one side of the face.
No. So that was our thing. Like it would be like L'Oreal, where's the eye black? And I literally just whip it out, and we'd literally just go to the toilet. It was so weird. We go to the toilets together, and then
like just whip it out.
Yeah,
you're gonna whip it out and go to the toilet together. Yeah, that's thank God it's off 9 o'clock.
I tell you what, being in a locker room, I've never seen so many penises in my life. Like 50-odd lads that were not afraid just to drop their kegs and just like have full-on conversation. Have you ever seen Jerry Maguire?
Yes.
When he has a conversation with like Tom Cruise's Jerry Maguire, and he's like full-on butt-ass naked. Like the amount of times I would have like Sam Emblem or Ozzy or Occo, literally just walk around without any underwear on whatsoever, just have like a full-blown conversation. Like I'd just be like, Sam, put it away. Like, put it away. I don't need to see it.
With the towel on the end, yeah, that'd be the one.
Yeah, I'd be like, definitely. Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, well, lads, if you don't have anything else to say, I'd like to thank Kenobi and thank L'Oreal for coming on this.
He changed our name.
Talking about your playing days. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
Oh, yes. Nights on me, nights on 3.
1, 2, 3, nights.
Nights.
Okay, so we'll be back next week, hopefully as a foursome. I don't think anyone's missing next week.
No, we are not.
I'm not sure what the plan is next week yet, but I'm sure
it's always a wild week in the NFL.
I'm sure there'll be some news. So I think the only thing left to say is Kenobi.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe.